And when he saw the crowds, he went up on the mountainside and he sat down. His disciples came to him and began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." The word of God for the people of God. As the week progressed and I was searching for ideas to come up with for All Saints Day, I thought about the title of "Why Not Searching for Saints?" So here we go. You know, life is a mystery, according to Charlie Brown. Lucy used to say that to him all the time. Life is a mystery. Do you know the answer? And Charlie Brown used to answer, always answered, "Be kind, don't smoke, be prompt, smile a lot, eat sensibly, avoid cavities, and mark your ballot carefully. Avoid too much sun. Send overseas packages early, love all the creatures above and below, and ensure your belongings and try to keep the ball low." Before you can get out another platitude, Lucy interrupts him and he says, "Hold real still," she says, "because I'm going to hit you a very sharp blow upon the nose." You just picture that, can't you? This is All Saints Day. This is the day we celebrate the lives of special people who have enriched our lives. And like Lucy, we might sigh and say, "It's a mystery, Charlie Brown." Because what is a saint, anyway? Charlie Brown might answer, "Well, a saint is kind. He doesn't smoke. Is prompt, smiles a lot, eats sensibly, avoids cavities, and marks his ballot carefully, avoids too much sun." Is that your definition of a saint? A nice person who abides by all the rules? Francis of Assisi bears the title of saint, but according to Mark Galli in an article in Christianity Today, Francis wasn't always a nice guy to be around. He was kind of nasty at times. For example, he had this thing about money. His friars were not to touch it. And he didn't mean that you can touch money, but just don't let it grip your heart stuff. He was serious. He didn't want them to touch money. But one day a worshiper at the Church of St. Mary of Portiaco, Francis's headquarters, left a coin as an offering at the base of the sanctuary cross. This was a common offering of gratitude to God in those days. But when one of Francis's friars saw the money, disturbed by its presence at the cross, or perhaps knowing Francis's revulsion of money, he tossed it over to the windowsill. When Francis learned that the friar had touched the money, he said, "Take that errant brother aside," explained his point of view, and then hug him. He didn't do that. Instead, Francis rebuked and upbraided the brother. He then commanded him to lift the money from the windowsill with his lips. find a pile of donkey dung outside and with his lips placed a coin in the pile. Wow, that's kind of nasty, isn't it? Was that nice? How could a saint be so terrible? In his explanation to the larger guild of the saints, what was it? When compared to the hundreds of stories of saints that can be culled from the Bible and church history, Francis was merely fulfilling his job description. True saints are never shrinking violets. They are people of action and conviction. They are people who paint outside the lines of accepted practice. They are people who make lasting impact on the time in which they serve. So let's give some thought to sainthood and determine what kind of people we would need to be if we were to qualify for sainthood. Oh, you might be like my wife over here. She qualifies for sainthood just for putting up with me for 45 years. Seriously though, first, a saint and sainthood is a lifestyle. It's an alternative lifestyle, we might say. Saints are people who take the teachings of Jesus seriously. Now consider our lesson from Matthew, the Gospel today of the so-called Beatitudes. He said, "Blessed are the merciful, blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness. Blessed are those who are persecuted for my name's sake." There's nothing here about financial security, nothing about fancy clothes, nothing about driving a fancy car. None of the things that the world seeks after. See, saints are people who march to a different drummer. People who dare to be different. In fact, a traveler reported a sign on the wall of a restaurant in Wyoming that said this: "If you find your steak tough, walk out quietly. This is no place for weaklings." Sainthood is not for weaklings either. Felix Adler put it like this: "The hero is one who kindles a great light in the world, who sets up blazing torches in the dark streets of life for men to see. The saint is the man or woman who walks through the dark paths of the world, themselves the light." Saints are people who we look up to. They are people of integrity who will stand their ground regardless of the standard that the world may set. Here's another story about someone you might have heard of, though his name might not be well known today. In 1972 and 73, Stan Smith was known throughout the world for being the best of the best in the world of tennis. But many of those who knew of his athletic prowess were unaware that Stan Smith was also a Christian, a gracious, friendly man, and a person of extraordinary integrity. In fact, Stan Smith was good friends with another man of great character and integrity, Arthur Ashe. Well, one year, Arthur and Stan were competing against one another in the world champion of tennis competition. The winner would gain instant fame and a great deal of money. The two men were well matched in skill, and the score was tied at match point. Arthur hit a very tricky drop shot that just barely cleared the net. To the crowd's amazement, Stan caught the shot and returned it in time, winning the game. But the umpires were not convinced that Stan had hit a legitimate shot. The angle and the nature of the shot then, his hit was illegitimate. They had declared that. They could see it clearly. Review of the videotape didn't provide a conclusive answer, however. Neither the umpire nor Arthur Ashe had a clear view of the ball. But per the rules of tennis, the umpire asked Stan if the ball had been up when he hit it. He replied that it had been. So Stan won. A minor controversy arose over the matter, and Arthur Ashe was asked many times why he had not contested the call in some way. Listen to what Arthur Ashe says. He answered, if Stan says it was up, it was up. You see, he believed in the integrity of his friend, so much that he trusted his honesty in a close situation. Now, as far as I know, Stan Smith is not a candidate for sainthood. But he did bear one of the characteristics. You see, his words and his actions were one. They were the same. Sainthood is a lifestyle. Joseph Stowell asked a Russian pastor why he thought Gorbachev lifted the oppression for Christians in the Soviet Union. He replied that the major problem facing the Soviet Union is its faltering economy. Gorbachev reportedly told Russian leaders, why do we oppress the very people who do not absent themselves from work, who are not alcoholics, and who give us productive days' work in our factories? He said, we need their strength. After decades of oppression, the light of persistently righteous community of Christians shone forth and opened the Soviet Union to the gospel of Jesus Christ. You see, sainthood is a lifestyle. And sainthood is also a living testimony, a testimony to Christ's place and his presence in our lives. Per reports from the Associated Press, one of the best-selling items in religious bookstores across the nation right now, you're not going to believe this, it's a simple nylon bracelet with the letters WWJD embroidered on the fabric. Many stores are selling as many as 2,000 bracelets a week. The $1.50 bracelets are in such demand that their creators are scrambling to handle the demand. But what does WWJD signify anyway? That's a nice, simple question. And here's the simple answer. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Therefore, saints live an alternative lifestyle. They have a different standard for their lives. Their lives are a living testimony to the Lord whose name they bear. Dr. Henry Popham, who spent over 40 years as a missionary to China, once told Dr. Robert Schuller of his experience of going to a remote village there, where presumably missionaries had never, ever been. There he told the people about Jesus, how he was gentle and kind, and that he could forgive easily and love even those who were unlovable. Dr. Popham finished telling them about Jesus. Some of the men from the village came to him and said, we know Jesus. We already know him. He's been here. No, said Dr. Popham. He lived and died in a country that is far away from here. No, they replied. He died here. Come, we'll show you his grave. So they led him outside the city to a cemetery where they showed them the grave of an American. And on the tombstone was the name of a Christian medical doctor who all on his own felt called by Jesus Christ to go there, to live there, and to die there. You see, the people so admired him that they thought he was Jesus, the very person Dr. Popham was telling them about. Would anyone confuse your life with that of your Lord? Sainthood is a lifestyle. It is a living testimony as well. And one thing more. Sainthood is a legacy to the world. That is, saints have only one reason for walking this earth. That when they have finished their sojourn, the world will be a better place because they have been here. Anthony de Mello, in one of his books, tells of such a man. According to his story, this man was so godly that even the angels rejoiced at the sight of him. But despite his great holiness, he had no notion at all that he was holy. He just went about his humdrum task, diffusing goodness the way flowers unselfishly diffuse their fragrance and streetlights their glow. His holiness lay in that he forgot each person's past and looked at them as they were now. And he looked beyond each person's appearance to the very center of their being. Thus he loved and forgave everyone he met. And he saw nothing extraordinary in this at all. For it was the result of his way of looking at people and his way of living every single day. One day, an angel said to him, "I have been sent to you by God. Ask for anything you wish and it will be given you." Would you wish to have the gift of healing? No, said the man. I'd rather God did the healing himself. Would you want to bring sinners back to the path of righteousness then? Again he said no. It's not for me to touch human hearts. That's the work of angels. Would you like to be such a model of virtue that people will be drawn to imitate you? No, said the saint, for that would make me the center of attention. What then do you wish for? Asked the angel. Listen to what he said. The grace of God. Having that, I have all that I desire and all that I need. No, you must ask for something, some kind of miracle, said the angel, or one will be forced on you. Well then, I shall ask for this, he said. Let good be done through me without my being aware of it. And so it was declared that the holy man's shadow would be endowed with healing properties whenever it fell behind him. So everywhere his shadow fell, provided he had his back to the sick, was healed, and the land became fertile. Fountains sprang to life, and color returned to the faces of those who were weighed down by lifestyle. But the saint knew nothing of this because the attention of the people was so centered on the shadow that they forgot about the man. And so, his wish that good be done through him and be forgotten was absolutely, abundantly fulfilled. This is the saint's reason for living. That the world will be a better place because he or she has been here. So what is sainthood? Sainthood is a lifestyle. Sainthood is a living testimony to Christ's presence in the world. And sainthood is a legacy by which the world becomes a better place. So what's all this have to do with you and me? Just this. Every follower of Jesus is called to sainthood. Every one of us. We are called to live merciful lives, peacemaking lives, lives of integrity and justice and generosity. We don't need to wear a bracelet that says WWJD, but that is to be our credo. That is to be what we believe. What would Jesus do? And we are to leave the world a better place because we have been here. In closing, I want to share author Kurt Van Noot's saying that went like this. He once said something quite profound. It appeared in USA Today. He wrote, "I got a letter from a woman a while back. She was pregnant and she wanted to know if I thought it was a mistake to bring a little baby into the world, a world that was so troubled as this one is." So I replied that what made being alive almost worthwhile for me was the saints that I met along the journey. They could be almost anywhere. By saints, I meant people who have behaved decently and honorably in societies which were so often obscene. You know, our own society is very frequently obscene. Perhaps many of us, regardless of our ages or power or wealth, can be saints to her little child and to the others that we meet. It's a lifestyle, folks. May God add His blessing.